Jame Sykes, CEO of Metal Energy, nickel exploration company focused on the Manibridge project in Manitoba, Canada. We've had some results out recently on the Manibridge project, some very wide nickel intercepts, encouraged by them. They're absolutely phenomenal, and they do show that the Manibridge system is a project that will continue to grow and will continue to impress. So I guess I'm passing it off to you, Merlin. Let's take it away.
James, very good speaking to you again. Just by way of recap, could you remind me what was the work that you did that led up to this, the most recent news releases? How many meters did you drill last year, and where have you got to in the project understanding?
So in the total year, we drilled about 12,500 meters in 3 different programs. Well, our phase 2 program, which was summer, was spread over 2 different periods. We completed over 40 drill holes. And we've basically covered an envelope of mineralization that was historically defined over a kilometer of strike length and went down to 800 meters depth. We took a little bit of a reconnaissance approach to see how big that system really was on the first drill program in the winter of last year with 6 drill holes, again, targeting that a kilometer away from the old mine workings and 700 meters beneath, or 700 meters beneath surface, so 350 meters beneath the old mine workings. And we followed up on a couple other drill holes, but more importantly, we put some drill holes into some gaps within the model, just to prove to ourselves that, yeah, this really is the system that we're looking for. And lo and behold, every drill hole is hit. So we decided to follow up with the summer program last year. So it was a 10,000 meter program. And we knew that we had to identify the structural controls of mineralization, because this is a structural system. We started in the middle of the historic envelope and started working towards the old mine workings. So the idea was, because what we saw there was a possible fold control. So we wanted to identify if these folds are going to control high-grade mineralization. Can we identify the periodicity of folding, which could lead us to greater zones of vein concentration and higher grades of nickel.
So if I understand it right, you've got the mine at one end, and then the mineralized body, the envelope that you identified out to a kilometer away from that mine, the historic mine, and in that kilometer you've put in some drill holes to fill in the gaps. You hit mineralization, and you're trying to identify the fold zones because you think that they control high grade mineralization.
Correct.
Am I with you so far?
Absolutely.
Now, when you talk about the high grade zones controlled by the folding, is that because where the fold axis occurs, there's thickening and you get greater thicknesses or greater accumulation of mineralization, so there's more metal? Or is it because there's preferential concentration of fluid flow and deposition in the fold axis, so it's not just thicker but also higher grade?
Combination of elements A and B. Because originally when this was all deposited, it was basically an ultramafic sill, and that was nickel rich originally, and then that got folded up and deformed and sheared along this structural plane. So now we're looking for where these packages would have thickened, but also we're looking for axial planar controls of fold mineralization, fold fault mineralization. Yes.
Okay, got it. So how do you when you're drilling at depth, and have you got any tools that can enable you to vector into a kind of a fold zone, and what size target are you looking at? Is it 5 meters or is it 20 meters? What to you is the kind of the scale of the fold zone targets that you're looking at?
We're looking at a big fold system, 150 meter type of scale. And what really vectors us in, we were under the impression that geophysics would have worked, but after looking at some of the core and doing some preliminary core work, geophysical core work, we found that geophysics is not going to help guide us in that specific area, because there's a lot of high-grade nickel that is associated with altered ultramafic rocks. So you're losing the mag signal, you're losing the EM signal, and we basically have to rely on our drilling to guide us. So we use oriented drill core to help us understand the geology that we're seeing.
Okay, and that's why you talked about trying to understand the periodicity, because with the if you know roughly how these rocks behave, we can see how they fold, and you can see the thickness. Therefore, you can make estimates of when it's likely to have another fold. Is that you're looking at kind of the rheology of these beds?
Yes, absolutely, exactly. And then if we understand how these folds are working, in a lot of cases, as you're aware, the folds will have plunges to them, so you can follow a series of folds and follow that plunge. So we're trying to learn that as well.
So you effectively got a planar structure within which there are intersections or zones where you'll have a thickening, which will kind of create a cylindrical pipe, which is worth following down, because that pipe you've just described as being up to 150 meters in its long axis.
Actually, 150 meters in its let's say second axis. We think that they can go much deeper. 300 meters, 400 meters.
Okay, so yes. So when I meant in the kind of
in the ellipse shape. Let's say it's a carrot.
Okay, carrot shape. Good. And have you hit any
high grade nickel? Yes, we have. We have definitely hit a lot of high grade. Now it depends what people consider high grade. We're considering it above 0.8, but we do have individual assays that come back over 3%. We have 25 out of 27 drill holes have hit over 1% nickel of variable widths.
So run that by me again. 25 out of 27 drill holes.
25 out of 27 drill holes have all hit at least 1% nickel over variable widths.
But
so sometimes they're over 10 meters, sometimes they're 1 meter.
But you said you drilled 40 holes, not 27 holes.
Yes. We haven't got all the assays back yet. We're still waiting on nine results.
Okay, gotcha. A kilometre is quite a big area of strike length that you've got to work on. You're drilling potentially down to 800 meters. That's what you've drill defined. Are you trying to put a resource together? Are you still trying to work out or are you still trying to work out where the best place is to target to start to put a drill resource together?
Again, it's one of those A and B situations. We are trying to put a resource together as we continue to drill. While we do that, we are we're trying to learn that geology so that we can better define where the high grade zones could be. And then as soon as we can figure out all of that, then we will preferentially target where we think the higher grades would be to build up a resource faster. But our goal is to get to a resource stage sooner rather than later.
What's the continuity like on the vertical?
It's continuous the whole way.
Yeah,
we're seeing every section that we have drilled. We have defined mineralization in the down dip direction, anywhere from 150 to 250 meters down dip. With all of those sections are completely open at depth. Some of those sections do show historic mineralization in the area, so indicating that yes, we will see more mineralization as we continue at depth.
And when you're on the flank or the limbs of these on the planar bit of these sections without their intense folding, what's a kind of a typical intersection or thickness that you're looking at there, and indeed a grade?
That's what we're still working out. We're in the midst of putting all of that information together. Unfortunately, we don't have that fully yet, but within the next couple of weeks, that is something that we should have available.
And is that because you're just going to have more holes, so you'll be able to say this is an average, a better average?
Yes. That and just having the people to work on the project.
Is there a shortage of people? Is it boom time back in Canada now, and it's hard to find geologists?
Oh, absolutely. No, it's definitely boom time. And for a lot of the logging that we had done last year, I took some of the Baseload crew over into Metal Energy, and they did a lot of the core logging. But now that Baseload's back up and running, they're back to working on that. So now it's between my VP and myself really putting a lot of things together.
So you're spending time on the core?
On the data, absolutely. I love data. It's fun to work with. It's my forte. Puts me in a peace of mind. Makes me forget about the world.
Doesn't answer back. Doesn't need feeding.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, interesting. So you're going to get the remaining. You said 9 holes. I count 13. But when will you have all of the assay back?
Hopefully within the next few weeks. I am anticipating results to be back at least the next section of results sometime within this week or next week. Yeah, and there were 6 drill holes that we didn't hit bedrock. So those holes, out of that 40 drill holes, 6 did not hit bedrock. So we're still pending. Well, sorry, those don't get calculated in.
Okay, so when you say bedrock, you're into the Sudbury igneous complex. Is this where the host mineralization is? You're not.
No, sorry. We're in Manitoba. We're far outside of Sudbury. We're in Manitoba in the Thompson Nickel Belt.
I'm getting my nickel wires crossed.
Yeah, no worries. Canada's good for nickel.
Yeah, it is. Remind me of the geology that you're looking at in the Thompson Nickel Belt.
Thompson Nickel Belt, it's ultramafic hosted nickel in basically sheared and folded ultramafic rocks that were part of the Trans-Hudson orogeny. Older than Sudbury.
Okay. Well, that's pretty old. And can you see the mineralization crystal clear? I mean, do you know when you're coming into the alteration zone, and do you know when you're in the sulfides? I mean, presumably you can tell when you're into the disseminated or net textured sulfides. But can you orientate yourself with more markers than just the sulfides?
Yes, the alteration helps, as it's a good structural pathway that's providing a lot of the fluids to alter the rocks. And we do have some. It's a limited package. The host rock is a limited package of ultramafics. We've got quartz of feldspathics bounding the ultramafics on both the hanging and footwall sides. So as soon as we're into that system, we know that we're basically in it.
You know where you are. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's not complex at all. Just internally within that ultramafics, that's when things they definitely get complex with all the folding, because the folding is not as strong in the quartz of feldspathics, but the ultramafics are more highly deformed.
They've partitioned the strain preferentially into that package. Was the old mine based on a fold zone? Do you have enough information to be able to go back and see what they were looking at and what the dimensions were?
The dimensions were not that. It was 1.3 million tons at 2.5% nickel, measured about carat size or cylindrical size, so about 150 meters by 150 meters, or let's say 150 meter diameter, and it went down to about 350 meters depth. Now what some of their sections show is that this is definitely a structural zone, because they do mention myelinite, and they show that there's a strong correlation between strong shearing and higher grade nickel, or at least the myelinite is the footwall structure, and a lot of that nickel is either within or very close to that myelinite, but also there's nickel within the hanging wall system of it too. And because this is a shear zone, you have to understand that shear zones, they meander and they come and go, and so things pinch and swell. So mineralization follows that.
Through the drilling that you've done, can you recognize what they were talking about in the historic documents?
Absolutely.
So you can see the shearing as well, which is why you're talking about the kind of axial planial nickel as well as the fold controlled nickel. Okay, gotcha. Now, I'm aware that we're disappearing down a kind of a technical rabbit hole, but it's also really useful to understand the kind of the scale of the system, the controls on the system, the challenges that you might have on vectoring. But with your visual keying into the system, it'll help you manage your drill hole program better. How many of these carats, these nickel folds, do you think you've identified?
At least one that we would say is comparable to what was mined previously, and we're making that comparison based on the grade thickness values that we're seeing in these drill holes, that they do compare quite well with what was mined previously.
Okay. Good.
And
Well,
we've limited our exploration to the upper 350 meters from surface. So we've left a lot of the potential mineralization at depth completely wide open. There's only one drill hole that we drilled in the winter last year that went down to 700 meters just to see what was going on down there. But everything remains wide open.
And that hit nickel.
Yeah, that hit 9 meters over 1%.
Okay, good. How are you going to find another one of these carats?
By defining this first one that we're seeing. So we don't know how much more mineralization we're going to see in this area. It looks like it's going to be quite a bit as we continue, but we also want to continue towards the old mine working because we want to see if that old mine working was really just a carat or did it continue out further. They stopped mining back in 1977 or 1978 due to the low nickel prices. So they left a lot of mineralization in the ground and no one ever came back to really follow it up. So that carat might be an artifact of just what was really extracted from the ground and not everything came out.
I like the fact that we've defined a new unit of mining resource. We're dealing in carats now. So you've identified the potential for 1 carat, and there's also the possibility that their 1 carat was actually a half carat or 2/3 carat or a 3/4 carat, and actually the carat could be bigger.
Could be a lot bigger. Could be a carrot cake.
Or a plantation, or a sack of carrots. Good. So talk to me about the kind of the news flow in the next 6 months, the rigs that are going to be deployed, the team that's going to be deployed, and the money that's going to be put to work.
So right now we've still got the 9 drill holes that we're waiting on, and that will give us drill hole assay results from the 3 cross sections. And we will release those results as per cross section. We won't wait till they all come out. We'll do cross section by cross section by cross section. So to continue building up the story. After that, we've got about 2.2 million in the bank. That's all hard dollars. We have no flow through. We want to preserve our hard dollars at the moment. So we'd like to go back to the market and raise some money and get some flow through to continue our exploration. But as far as I would go beyond 6 months. We would like to continue drilling and get to that NI 43-101 mineral resource stage. And we figure that with at least another 50,000 meters, that will definitely get us there. So whether that's going to take the next 12 to 18 or 24 months, we don't know. How much is that going to cost? That will cost us less than $20 million based on the budget that we had from the summer. We had a very low cost operation. We know that it will continue that way as well. Our drill crew was absolutely phenomenal. They hit it out of the park. They were very quick, very efficient, and we would retain them to continue our drilling and get this all done within a limited time frame and with very low costs associated with it. Because of where we are in the Thompson Nickel Belt, and it was a past producing mine, we're not in this situation where we have to helicopter out to an area or you have to drive hundreds of kilometers to get there. You're literally 5 minutes off a highway that goes from Snow Lake all the way up to Thompson. It's a well-preserved highway. The power line runs right through the area. There's a cell tower there. There's a camp that we use in the core shacks right within the area. So everything is there. Like the infrastructure is all in place, and that all helps keep our costs down.
Yeah. So you've got space for personnel at your core shacks. You've basically got a permanent camp or kind of a semi-permanent camp. How far away is that from the resource area? Is that part of the old mine infrastructure?
No, it's not part of the old mine. There's nothing left from the old mine infrastructure. Everything's been removed and the shafts have all been capped. It's about a 15-minute drive. It's about a 10-minute drive to the core shack and then a 15-minute drive to the camp.
Okay, gotcha. And tell me about the reception you've been getting, because we've got this very strange dislocation between all of the talk about battery metals, about the demand for nickel, and yet junior companies' valuations have been crushed. It's very hard to raise capital. Your market capitalization is $6 million Canadian. So there's this kind of these two very dislocated conversations going on. What are you, and you're in the middle. So tell me what input is coming to you.
Input has been simply that we haven't told the story properly, and I do agree. We lumped a lot of our assays in one of the previous exploration programs, so there was a lot of period with no news, and it kind of left investors thinking, well, you know what's going on, we don't know what's going on, and there's no transparency, so it made them nervous. That's obviously going to change as we move forward, as we will be more proactive with our news. We've also been.
But you were drilling. You were drilling last year, so you must have had news coming out. I mean, it wasn't as if there was a kind of a blackout period. I mean, you were putting out regular news items.
We should have been more frequent. Even if you see what we've started doing this year, even as of December last year, we've been putting out more frequent news and just providing more generalized updates, and that's the flow that we want to continue. So I'm ashamed to admit that that I wasn't putting out the news that frequently.
Are you a TikTok influencer now?
No. No thanks. I like to educate. I do like to educate, and so we'll continue to put out some educational videos and help the investors understand what is really going on at Manibridge. And that kind of falls into the second part of your question, or just where we were or what was going on. We were putting out the assays. We were releasing the assays individually, and I guess it was confusing for a lot of investors to see a number of rows in a table and not seeing these significant values. Now, to myself and my VP, Mike Sweeney, it made sense to us on the technical standpoint. So we thought it was the right thing to do, which is why we've now switched over to, we'll still release those results, but we'll focus more on the composite results as they provide a better feedback. And now that we have more officially defined that there's an upper lens of mineralization and a lower lens of mineralization, we can better categorize the drill results to fit into each of those as composite results. So it does provide a better understanding of the nickel that is really happening at Manibridge.
And what's the separation between those upper and lower zones?
Variable. Sometimes it's 50 meters. Sometimes it can be as shallow as about 30. Sometimes up to I think 70. No, I think 50 might be the maximum.
Yeah. Okay. Do you? It's funny, as the CEO of Baseload and as the CEO of Metal Energy, and yet you're talking about a communication gap. Do you think that's a problem? Do you, does the market not know whether you're the CEO of Baseload or the CEO of Metal Energy?
That could be a problem too. I've received those comments as well. I quite often get asked, what am I spending my time on? So as it is, Baseload's taken off. Baseload's in a great situation. We've got a very strong team behind me to really focus on the technical aspects and move a lot of that company forward, while I still maintain my work on that. Knowing that Metal Energy was in a more difficult spot, I've shifted a lot of my focus onto Metal Energy to try to get this up and going. And as soon as we can really build up our technical team on Metal Energy as well, it will provide me a lot of opportunity to jump back and forth. But I've taken on the Metal Energy role because I understand baseload. Like, I understand the uranium Athabasca. I've been doing it for 16 years. I'm very well documented and well versed in it. Had a lot of success there. So a lot of things come very naturally to me. Nickel was a completely new thing for me, and I took on the role as this opportunity to grow and to develop my own skills and my own role as a CEO into a completely different commodity. So it's been a learning curve, which is also why things have been a little bit slow. I'm trying to understand what the market is looking for, what investors do think are good intercepts, how frequent news really should come out. So it has been a learning curve, but I think a lot of that is now behind us, and it's just full steam ahead.
The cynical commentator would say that the your school fees have been paid for by the shareholders of Metal Energy.
Yeah, I put a lot of time in. Trust me.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Oh
No,
yeah.
I don't doubt your ability or your dedication. But I do feel that the market really responds to when a CEO does one thing and one thing well.
Well, that's what I want to do for Metal Energy too, though. I want to do, like I said, baseload's a walk in the park for me. So I want to do Metal Energy very well. I've spent a lot of evenings, I spent a lot of weekends researching and just putting a lot of effort in. So on top of everything else that I do, this is me trying to be the best of the best for our investors, because I'm also an investor in the company too. I want to see us outperform everybody out there.
Well, certainly. I mean, if you can get a resource together off a low market capitalization, that'd be absolutely fantastic, because a good grade nickel sulfide resource, have you got a concept? Is something which is valuable? Do you have a concept of what constitutes kind of an economic tonnage? I mean, I know that these guys brought something into production at 1.3 million tons, but do you have an idea in your head what you're aiming for? Are you looking for 5 million tons or 10 million tons or something in between?
We've actually conceptualized greater than 15 million tons at 0.6%. Obviously, we can't back that up right now, but that is our goal, and we do think it's achievable.
So that's essentially an exploration target that you're working to test the model in the area.
Yeah.
Good. Now, and what's obviously you're looking to do flow through funds and kind of get some more kitty money in the kitty. What is the response from your institutional shareholders or your high net worths who've backed in the company to the results you've been put out to date?
Excellent. Very well received. Very well received, and we keep hearing that people want a piece of it. So this is exactly where we wanted to be. This is exactly what we were waiting to do. And with these results that we will come out, or all of the pending assays, we do believe are going to be better than what we've put out so far. Just visually what we've seen, higher concentrations over larger widths of nickel. So
you've the 3 sections that are coming out, you've got 3 holes on each section, I presume.
Yeah, 3 to 4.
3 to 4 holes in each section.
Actually, I think it's 4, 4, and 1. Yeah, 4, 4, and 1.
4, 4, 1. These have they just been done consecutively as you were drilling them? They went through the assay. You didn't rush better holes at the front end. Has it just been a consecutive drill program? Consecutive, yes. So there's when you say that what you see, you like, you can refer back to the I know it's always dangerous, but
to the drill core.
You can
right to the drill core.
Right. Okay. Good. And when you say over the coming weeks, it's presumably weeks, not months. So but hopefully by the end of February, you'll have all of your drill holes out. Is that your aim before PDAC? Oh, I'd like it to be before that, but yes, before PDAC for sure. I just put a note into the lab today to see if we can get things turned around quicker. Good. And hopefully the nickel price will continue to run, and then you'll be in a very good place to raise some fresh capital. Yep, that's the belief. Good. Well, James, thank you so much for that. I've learnt a huge amount about the project, not least that it's in Thompson Nickel Belt, not in in Sudbury. Good luck with the next 3 sections, the next 9 holes, and the capital raise. And I look forward to hearing how the shape of the next drill program comes together once you've got the money together, that you know what you're looking to put together. Yep, absolutely. Be happy to come back on and provide an update when all that has gelled and solidified. Great. Thank you very much. Thank you.